As far as I'm concerned with home run derby, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. We can use the analytic data that can take us nowhere. We can kind of
Hey,
just
Tone. Not,
completely guess.
no, we can be heard. Were we not heard up until just now? So everything we just talked about. Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah. My bad. My bad. We're
Oh
good. We're good,
wow.
guys.
Oh
Everyone should be able to
wow.
hear now.
We just. Ah man. Did everyone just miss me? Quote the Gettysburg Address from memory. That was.
That's crazy.
I
I
was.
had to let them. I had to make it so the viewers could see your beautiful face and just not hear the ugly voice.
Oh, dude. I practiced all week for that. I can't do it twice though. Lightning only strikes
No,
That's true.
once.
Sorry.
no. We'll
But
save it for another day.
just to kind of recap, I quoted the Gettysburg Address by memory. Ryan and I haven't done a show in a while. We talked about keeping bets low, ish. If you wanted to bet the home run derby, it's a lot of fun, but it's also hard to kind of quote unquote find an actual edge for some things because you don't know certain things. And sleeper picks, Pickett Sports. We thank our sponsors. And Ryan talked about some shit about his kids. I didn't really listen to that, but we did
I
not have
did
sound.
actually. I sure did.
We didn't have sound to start. I didn't realize that, so we're good here now. So
Yeah,
thank you for sticking with us. So
absolutely.
let's jump into it then, Ryan. It's a home run derby. There's a lot going on. So you have like what, 6 angles for this derby? Wow.
Six
Um, do,
picks.
do you mind enlightening us with the first one?
Well, did we want to touch on the MLB like the first
I
half of the
guess.
season, or do
Yeah,
you want
I
to just
guess.
jump right in?
I mean, we can. You're right. Anyway, first half, I can't read. I was just
I
thrown
know.
off by
That's why I'm
by
helping
the
you out. I got
I
you.
was thrown off by the no sounds. So first half of the season, of biggest thing I would say my takeaway from first half of the season is this is more of a betting take, but also an overall take. It was definitely interesting to really immerse yourself into certain props or pitching and strikeouts and a lot of the different stuff. Um, it's an all-time low for what's counted as an error as well for people that bet earned run props. It's only 43, I think, errors per 100 innings is like the lowest it's been in a while.
Hmm.
So it's like per 100, yeah. So a lot of things that should be errors being counted as hits and vice versa. So there's just a lot of changes in MLB, and I think the biggest takeaway I had was, feeling a lot more comfortable the last 3 weeks betting on it after really getting, immersed and figuring out what is what and how certain pitchers are handling the pitch clock.
Yeah, it's been super interesting. I've always been a K guy. I know you were as well. Back in the day, it was me, Brian, and a couple guys like Walla and um, Juts picks and stuff like that. We all had like 200, 300 followers, and we were giving out these long explanations for K props. And back in the good old days of gambling Twitter. And then we came into this season, and I thought K props did okay for me in April, but they're also like the most infuriating prop you can ever imagine betting on. And I just took so many tough beats that I kind of walked away for a little while. And I explored a bunch of different things. Man, I got to tell you, if you bet total base props like exclusively and you're profitable, I'm so impressed. It is not for me. It's not really my market. I'm moving the hell on from that shit. It's really fun when you do catch the guy that goes over his total bases, and if you play him for a home run and he hits that as well, a lot of fun. But no, not my market. I dove pretty strongly back into pitcher props about 8, 9, 10 days ago, and I'm having a blast. I think that'll be my primary focus for the rest of the season is just try to find the K props. I don't do a ton of PPDs, but if it's there, I'll definitely take it. But
Yeah,
for the most part, I mean, I'm super excited for the second half to start already. I kind of
yeah,
wanted a break, and then I got so heavily into these K props again, and now I didn't want to break. But um, still gonna be still gonna be nice. Get a little mental clarity for once instead of just hammering bets
yeah.
all day every day.
I think it's also interesting that you mentioned K-props can be so infuriating, but I think anything can because I think today I realized that I had this clarity moment and yesterday as well where sometimes it gets really frustrating because I was really struggling with strikeout props to start the year. Just all the data I seem to have on it the last 2 years just seemed meaningless. And then I moved to outs, earn run props, and team totals for teams. And I was having a really good 2 or 3 week span. And then right before the All-Star break, I was having so much fun betting on that stuff. I hit like a cold streak, like 3 days. But mostly, I thought about this. It was only one play a day on Saturday and Sunday, but it felt like I lost 40 units just because I had to watch Matt Manning's no hitter, and then I had to watch JP Sears no hit the Red Sox for 5 innings. So it's one of those things
So
where I had a
fun.
clarity moment, like, you know
So
what, I
fun.
lost 3 units on that, but it's not the end of the world. It's a setback, but it was just the fact that it can get so frustrating. So I think it's a good break. And it's okay that if you don't know other sports, you don't have to bet during this week. You can also just kind of use it as a way to, I mean, home run derby and stuff.
I
And
guess.
I'm saying Wednesday and Thursday when the All-Star stuff is over and it's all summer league. So if you like to bet it and you have things to bet, that's one thing, but don't find yourself betting like Russell table tennis. Like it's okay to like have this little break. So that's my closing thoughts. And now we can move on to MLB, the home run derby if you want.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I'm ready to fire off. I like I said, I have 6 plays. I am not assigning units. I mean, personally, myself, I kind of this is one of my favorite events of the year, regardless of sport. I really enjoy the home run derby. So I've always set aside like 3-4 units that I'm just cool to play around with. If I lost all 4, I wouldn't really, it would be fine. That's what that money's set aside for. Granted, obviously that's not the plan to lose them all. I plan to make some money tonight, but I consider this betting for fun for once. I definitely plan to bet for profit throughout the season. This is more so, betting for fun more than anything. But I have 2 outrights and then 4, I guess we'll call them props. I guess without further ado, I mean, I can just hop right in. My first one is Adolis Garcia. I'm taking him to win it all. I really love this guy. I really love his odds here. I took him actually on FanDuel, and then they had a 30% profit boost, which took him up to plus 910. So I thought this was terrific value. I thought he has the best value on the board because, if you want to look into analytical numbers to try to back your guy, I kind of get it. I also kind of giggle at it at the same time, which I'm about to do that. You can kind of laugh at me a little bit. Some of this stuff might not mean a fucking thing, but I thought with his raw power, he leads the field in barrels at 41. He's 4th in the league. He leads the field in barrel per plate appearance. He's 11th in the league in that. So, he hits the ball freaking hard. He puts it on the right spot of the bat very frequently, and he's doing this against 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and 89-mile-an-hour sliders. You got to figure if he can do it in the toughest conditions, obviously he should have a pretty easy time smacking the shit out of some home runs tonight. He's using their third base coach, and the third base coach is the guy who threw to Joey Gallo a couple years back. So I like that kind of continuity. It's a guy that's been here before. He's really the only pitcher that I know who it is that's throwing, but I did really like that angle. I find that super interesting. But I could just throw out I got a shitload of stats for you guys. I don't know who wants them, who doesn't, but park dimensions wise, it's 326 to right field down the line. It's 333 to left field down the line. This is kind of like a young man's competition since it became timed. The ages of the winners are 29, 26, 25, 25, 24, 26, and 23. And he's pretty young, so he kind of fits into that. Now I have all of their percentiles of their max exit velocity. I wouldn't really need to go too deeply into that, but Adolis is in the 96th percentile in max exit velocity, which is actually 3rd in the field. He is behind Julio and Vlad by a very slim margin, but but all in all, we have a guy that hits ball really hard. He's coming in pretty good form. He has 3 homers in his last 7 games. I like where he sits on the side of the bracket. He gets to avoid the Pete Alonsos, Vladimir Guerreros, Julio Rodriguez, so on and so forth. That's no slight to a Rosarina. I am a little frightened of a Rosarina in that first round, but not enough to scare me away from taking Adolis, especially at these odds. So, he's a guy that he's a big swing and miss guy. He chases a lot of pitches outside the zone, but obviously you remove that factor from the game tonight. And this is just a dude that kills the baseball. So I thought at these odds, I thought he had my favorite value. I mean, I know Mookie, it's like plus 1,000. That kind of seems crazy, but I like Adolis at plus 700 even more. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So my first outright is Adolis to win it all.
I like that. I was gonna mention you mentioned some how it's like a young man's game slash it is something that you got to have stamina to be able to do well. And I know Mookie Betts is a guy that I see a lot of people backing to win it all at like 20 to 1, almost like a sprinkle because like they think you know overall they like the idea. What you're just kind of saying there is hitting the ball 500 feet does not necessarily mean you win this tournament. You actually have to have the stamina to be able to do it for the time manner. So the only thing I didn't play it yet, but we were kind of talking about having some like action on this. The only thing I wanted to ask you about is what are your thoughts on Vlad in this tournament against Betts in that first round? Because I might just do straight up to win a unit Mookie Betts to win the first round
I
against
can
Vlad.
see
It's
it.
plus 175. And while Vlad's highest, longest home run prop is 480 and a half, Betts is only like 460. But it doesn't matter how long it goes. It just matters that you're hitting it out of the stands. So I
Yeah.
did think there is something where there might be some value there at almost 2 to 1. I mean, maybe 20 to 1 to win the whole thing is a little winning the whole thing may be a little out there, but at almost plus 200 when I saw it earlier, I was looking at maybe just bets over Vlad for some fun if you're watching the tournament.
Yeah, we have smoked 541 just gave us all kinds of statistics in the chat. I like that a lot. It gave us some spray chart
Yeah, I
stats. Something to peek
screenshotted
at
it.
if you guys have a second. I don't know. I'm a little weirded out by Vlad. I was surprised when the odds first came out to see. I don't need to overreact about 13 home runs. We've seen him do it before. He had 48 home runs, I think, in 2021, but he saw a pretty big drop off last season down to somewhere in the 30s, probably 31 or 32. This season he's got 13. He just finally hit a couple home runs at home, despite having zero through 2 weeks ago at home somehow. I don't know. It feels like he it's just not his focus. Power is just not really his focus anymore. He seems to be more. It seems to be more important for him to hit for average, which he's batting 274, which is fine, but also not that great. So I don't know. I'm having a weird time kind of placing Vlad. He's not hitting lefties. He has 0 home runs versus lefties. He only has 2 doubles. I mean, this is where he used to feed was at home and versus lefties, and he's just not really doing it that much anymore. So I don't know. I was surprised, but at the same time, we're still talking a 6'2", 245 guy who's come here, and I think he has the record for the most homers hit in one competition at like 90 something.
Yeah.
Julio is second. So I don't know. I think he's the guy I'm having the most trouble placing, like what he's going to do tonight, and he has the second lowest odds. So I technically wasn't that interested in Vlad specifically.
Yeah, so which is why I was kind of looking at maybe not going all the way for bets to win it all, but just that plus 180 or whatever to win the first round. Also,
Yeah, I don't
if
know
you believe
about
in
that.
FanDuel curse, Vlad is boosted to hit the longest home run tonight. If he doesn't
Is
make it
he
out of the
really?
first, yeah, plus 350 to hit the longest one. If he doesn't make it out of the first round, it kind of lowers your chances to hit the home run. So who knows if
No
you
doubt
believe in the
about it.
FanDuel wizard. So yeah, I just always feel weird my channel to give out bets like this because I don't try to give out bets that I'm not really 100% backed or analytical on. So this is like a weird one for me, but I am looking at doing that. I also use my DraftKings boost to use it on the under 490 and a half for longest home run. It's just a bad thing to root for, but I just think 490 and a half is kind of crazy. I mean, if you look at the stats last few years in this park, it's kind of a long one. So
Yeah,
that
no
that's
doubt.
that's the only thing that's the only 2 things I had. I just wanted to pick your brain before you moved on to your rounds slash your
Yeah.
other props.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a guy named Kevin Roth on Twitter. He's a meteorologist. He kind of said this is neutral hitting weather. That's it's not like the greatest conditions. We're going to see 60-ish degrees. We're going to see 5-mile-an-hour winds towards center. So, but the ball just if you look at Seattle games, you're going to see a lot of over 7.5s, and it's simply just not a great place for the ball to carry. It just doesn't really go that far off the bat. So it's almost like it's a little bit of a lame spot to have the home run derby. But I mean, this field is so loaded. I still think we're going to have a really good time tonight. But I'm with you on the under. I didn't take it actually. I something I couldn't sit there and root for it. But
I'll say
I
this.
would definitely go under on the longest
I'll
home
say
run.
this. A lot of other books have it 484, 485. So the fact you get 490 with the boost, that plus money, I think it was just a good look. I got like plus 123, I think, for under 9.5. If it's only $25 max as well. So that's kind of what I was saying is that's the kind of bets I'll place in this tournament. It's a quarter unit for me, and I can sleep at night if someone whacks one 600 yards and breaks the record of 521. So I said
Yeah,
yards, I meant feet. I don't know why I
yeah.
said yards like that.
I mean, yards would be
I
more.
was trying to be like exaggerate, and then I realized I like went way too over the top for my exaggeration. So I wanted to backtrack that.
Been there. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. So my next guy, I took two outrights. There was boost on FanDuel, which I went Adolis. There was a boost on DraftKings. For this, I went Lewis Roberts to win it all. So I do have two guys in the same side of the bracket, which I was a little hesitant on, but I really didn't want to mess around too much with the Alonso, Vlad, Julio part of the bracket. So obviously these guys, my best case scenario is they face off against each other. One advances to the finals. And that's kind of an odd way to do it, but I still really like my chances to have, one of the winners by taking these two guys. They were just simply my two favorites, so I stuck with that. Lewis has the third most barrels in the field. His 88th percentile in max exit velocity is actually fifth in this competition out of 8. But I mean, he's still very elite there. And then in the past 2 seasons, he had a 117.7 and a 117.8 max exit velocity, which would lead this field had he hit one of those this year. He's another guy that's just in incredible form in the last 15 days. This man has 7 homers. He just smoked one 450 the other day, and he had the funniest reaction after hitting. He's just staring at his hands, staring at his bat, like, did I just do that? And like, you're damn right you just did that. So he actually fits a little bit better into the young man's game than Adolis. Adolis is 30, so he's a little bit on the older side, whereas Lewis is pretty damn young. He's another one of these chase guys. He just swing and miss issues when he's playing in the real game. But again, you take that factor out, we get to really witness some true raw power. No disrespect to Adley Rutschman, but I think he got the easiest draw in the first round against Adley. So he also, again, he gets to avoid the Vlad, Julio, Pete side of the bracket because that's just such a mess. I didn't really know how to mess with that. Now Adley Rutschman will go first. I'm kind of hoping, a little bit of me is banking on him to shit the bed and hit like 12 or something like that. Because then Lou will step up to the plate, and once he gets 13, he's done. So he gets to just conserve his energy. And I'm sitting here thinking, Julio and Pete and Vlad, I mean, these dudes are going to have to swing the shit out of that bat, and Mookie, to try to keep up with each other. So whoever goes first, they're going to be swinging their life away. And, I think they could easily hit in the high teens, if not the low 20s. Pretty much any 4 of those guys. So I mean, and then the person that goes after that is going to have to use up a lot of energy to try to keep up. And I'm kind of banking on that whole side getting tired of shit, and then hopefully Lou Bob will be able to coast maybe a little bit, maybe just a little bit. But we'll see. Adley Rutschman, he's still way up there in max exit velocity. He just hit one 460 the other day, so it's not like this guy doesn't have pop. But, he's a terrific player. He's a great hitter. I haven't figured out if he's going to bat lefty or not, but he would be the only left-handed batter, and there's very slight advantage because down right, the right field line is a little shorter than left field, but not it's 5 feet. It's not that big of a deal, but yeah, I thought Lou Bob had a really nice draw in the first round. Hopefully, you get to conserve some energy. And this dude is he's just been wrecking the baseball all year. He's our field leader in home runs this season. So I really liked his odds. I think the boost got him up at plus 750.
Yeah.
I love those odds for him. I love those odds for Adolis. So I took both of those guys to win it all.
Yeah, I also think that I'm just looking at some of these markets. I mean, FanDuel has a market where you can bet anyone to win that it's their first time doing it. So Robert, Rush, was it Garcia, Betts, or Randy?
Yeah.
It's plus 115 to the over. Some people in the chat are talking that they either are really backing Garcia with you, or some people are saying you're the most stupid person in the entire planet for picking Garcia over Randy. I'm in neither camp, but I was trying to find an angle to maybe post in my channel so people can have some fun with it because I have a free bet on FanDuel, And what are your thoughts on this? If I backed you on Garcia just to win the first round, -122, parlayed with Mookie Betts over 17.5 first round home runs, it's plus 220. I feel
Sounds
like
fun
that
as shit, dude.
I feel like that one because it's 4-1 for Garcia and Betts to win, but I feel like the over 17.5 backs like it leaves you the chance. It doesn't have to win. He just has to perform well. Like I feel like that the odds are lower, but that way he doesn't have to beat Vlad. He just has to do well and hit 18. So
Yeah,
I think that'd be a kind of a fun, double your money type of play. So I might end up posting that as like a Ryan and Brian parlay that we can put in there. So we'll
love
talk
it.
about it later, but I think that's a fun angle.
Yeah,
And do you want to continue on your journey of props you have here?
for sure, man. Let's do it. I don't know if these are Bet 365 specials. They may be elsewhere. I'm really hoping they are because I know not everybody listening has Bet 365, but I feel like Virginia's a little limited on markets overall on DraftKings and FanDuel. It's not terrible, but I think I'm getting a lot less markets than others. So hopefully, I'm kind of banking on either you having 365 or this being a prop you can find somewhere. But the first one I'm going with is the most homers by a player in the first round. It's over 27.5. So I need 28 homers from somebody in the first round. This just sounded fun as shit, and a little bit of what I'm shooting for here betting wise. And this is just a personal preference on how to handle this situation, especially since I'm considering this betting for fun. Is I want to cheer for every fucking home run. Every home run, I want it to be awesome. Like
I
so,
want to
like
bet the under on everybody and just see what I do, just so I can text you tonight and be like,
you're a
"Oh, look at
sick fuck.
this!" Yeah.
You sick
every
fuck.
time a ball every time a ball is in between, everyone's going, "Get out, get out!" I'm the only guy in the house. Boo! Die! Like, die down! Die
You
down!
sick bastard. You sick bastard. So, we get to cheer for all 8 guys with a prop like this. Once that somebody gets into that 23-24 zone, it's going to be a fun ass sweat. So, I like that look, and kind of partnered with that, I went over 58.5 total home runs by the winning player. So, it's somebody that's going to get 3 rounds. I mean, Julio, better conditions, don't get me wrong, but Julio hit 60 in 2 rounds himself last year and then lost. So, I do understand there's a difference in conditions here, but I still felt like this is a pretty generous number. We need 59 home runs in 3 rounds from whoever ends up winning this thing. So, I mean, we get the top dog to hit X amount of home runs. So, I really like both these plays. Again, I think both of them are going to be fun. Makes every home run really fun tonight. So, and then that's part of something that I'm shooting for is to have fun, because this is a one time a year thing, and you don't get to bet this kind of stuff all the time. So
Yeah.
let's fuck around.
So my math skills are pretty terrible. How many have you gone over? How many plays? Is that
That's
5?
4. I got 2
4?
more
I
to go.
counted 5. Damn. Uh,
Nope, still going.
still going. This guy's a machine. But yeah, I do think that's like I said earlier. Some people in the comments are asking about the longest home run, this and that. I do lean the under, but as I said before, it's just one of those things where the under is set at 90.5. The highest guy in terms of single betting is Vlad, and it's 10 feet lower than that total. So I get it's like not fun, and this is all about betting on fun. But I do think sometimes these lines are set knowing that people are betting for fun, and you can kind of lose out on value. Where I mean, I don't think there's been 470 some is like the highest in like the Statcast era or whatever. It's like it's one of those things where I think the line should be probably closer to 480, but I know FanDuel has 500 plus at plus 130, and it just kind of seems like they kind of take advantage of some of those lines, especially when Will Hill, if you watch the 1 p.m. shows, is very big on it. He's done with the home run derby. He feels like it's all just a joke for betting because for all you know, they can just tell you whatever you want to hear, or the rules were like, you can only throw the ball after it's completely out of the park or this and that. But last year they didn't really care for Juan Soto, and there's just so many gray areas with this thing. So I think it's one of those events that you should bet it. It's fun to bet, but I just wouldn't put your rent on it because you're gonna end up pulling your hair out maybe.
100%, 100%. Yeah, like I said, I set aside money for this specifically. So, say by chance everything went poorly, I wouldn't. It's not like I wouldn't care, but like it wouldn't hurt. I bet X amount of dollars, knowing like, hey, I'm in this to have some fun tonight. So, encourage you to do the same. If you have a smaller bankroll, be careful. This is a night that you can, there's not we're not really betting on huge edges here. A lot of it is kind of having an idea and spilling it with some conviction. So it's kind of what we're shooting for here. So, but yeah, I got two more fairly related, kind of not, but if you don't have the bet 365 props, it's fine. I got two more coming for you. So I'll at least provide four props that everybody can take. And then if you're one of the fortunate people that has 365, you can jump on the fifth and sixth. I'll start just with the Julio and Pete Alonso matchup. First of all, so on DraftKings for minus 120, you can bet that duo to hit over 42.5 home runs. And I did take that. I like that one a lot. Again, Julio hit 30 plus in back-to-back rounds last year. I know, again, different conditions here, but this guy's going to be pumped for this. He's going to be absolutely pumped, and he's going to get, I believe he's going to get started first. So he's going to have the crowd to back him. I think he gets off to a really nice start. I think he'll hit 20 plus. And then if he does, we basically need him to hit 21. That way he needs 22. And then if he hits any more than 21, we should be in really good shape. So yeah, it's minus 120 over 42.5 homers for the duo themselves. Two guys that have been here before, two obviously massive power hitters. Now I will kind of put a little bit of a knock on Pete Alonso for this next thing. So I'm actually taking Julio to beat Pete in this round. I had that at plus 140 on DraftKings. It was plus 138 on FanDuel earlier, so pretty competitive. I think it was plus 140 on 365 as well. So seems like a plus 140 seems like the best price you're going to find, and a lot of books have a similar one. But Pete has come back from a wrist injury, perhaps prematurely, and he's not hitting very well ever since he's gotten back. He's hitting 153 since he came back, so a little cause for concern. Obviously, he wouldn't be doing this if he's in a ton of pain or if he thought it would affect his performance. So I still, I know it's kind of funky to say this while having some money on him in this round because we need him over 42 and a half total. But, he's not going to do this if he was in a lot of pain, but he's also not hitting the ball very well either, which makes me lean Julio. I mean, this guy's going to walk up to the plate with a ton of adrenaline pumping through his veins. That crowd's going to be so hyped to see him do it. We've seen what he's capable of in the home run derby, and I was very attracted to that for obvious reasons. If you watched last year, I mean, he really put his name on the map. I mean, he was one of the league's top prospects. He already had a nice name for himself, but I think that really put him on the map for perhaps more casual fans. So, man, he was a blast to watch last year, and I really hope we get to see him for more than just the first round, and I believe we will. I think plus 140 is a really good price. I'm taking him to beat Pete in the first round.
I like that. Did you consider that J-Rod is clearly just not as cool as a nickname as Big Meat Pete? And that's
I did consider that.
I just think the nickname game is he loses out so much on that nickname side of things. But so is that all six of them? That was pretty
six.
Concise. Yeah,
That's six.
We can review them obviously, but yeah, I think there's a lot of good talk in the chat and kind of on the YouTube chat that we have up, which kind of is nice because I made it so I blocked your face so I can only see my own face, which is really a lot better for me than having to view both of us at the same time. But I think there's a lot of good conversation going back and forth, and I think a lot of people also understand how to kind of scale back their units, have fun, because I think the only thing with this thing is you don't want to be breaking your TV because some guy hit 17 home runs instead of 18, or he didn't hit 29 to hit your bet. It was only 28. You want to kind of have fun where, you can still afford gas in the morning in case things go wrong.
Hopefully.
Yeah, with the prices now, am I right, in this economy? But to kind of move forward and then kind of backtrack, I actually am really interested to see people in the chat and or just is that if you don't watch the 1 p.m. show with GoldBoys, you should. It's me, Brad Thomas, Josh, Jay Boogie on Twitter, and Will Hill. we did a thing where I think we're putting up either 50 or $100. We said 50, we're not sure yet,
Uh,
where we're gonna pick like 5 players for each award, and for NFL that is, and you know, you want to pick the longest odds if you can. So if that makes sense, we each pick 6 players today for MVP. Obviously, only one player can win MVP, but the person that can nail it will earn points. So at the end of the season, the person that picked the best odds for the 5 awards will win the pot. So
that's
uh,
pretty cool.
if you were given the first overall pick right now for uh the pick for MVP, who would you go with? Because I
Hmm.
had the first pick today, and I want to say, who would you pick? And obviously, the first 5 in terms of odds for NFL MVP are Burrow at 750, um, Mahomes and Allen are both 7-1. Justin Herbert's 9-1, and then Hurts is 12-1, followed by guys like Jackson's 15-1, and was it Aaron Rodgers 16-1. So that's kind of what your first round would look like. Who would you take, if knowing that you had the first overall pick, but also you have to factor in the odds can be a factor because you want to outweigh likely to win with the odds.
Yeah, tough. Even with the goal being trying to hit longer odds, I still would stay pretty safe. I mean, there's in my opinion a pretty damn clear top 2 here. Um, it's so funny to even say this because I had the same concerns last year, and obviously that did not mean anything. But Mahomes is obviously right there. He'd be a great choice for this. I have a little bit of concern about his receiving core. I think it's downgraded a little bit with losing Juju Smith-Schuster, but I also think Sky Moore could really step up and take on a bigger role. Kadarius Toney will get, he's had more time with with the team. He's now had a full off season with Andy Reid. So I don't know. Part of me thinks it's worse. Even Richie, they picked up Richie James, who's a pretty good pickup. Part of me thinks it's worse. Part of me thinks it's a little bit better. We'll see. With that said, I don't have many question marks at all about T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, guys like that, Tyler Boyd.
You're gonna
Boyd,
make
even
Tone Stamp
Joe
get
Burrow.
so happy.
What's that? Yeah.
So you're gonna make
Definitely
Tone
sucking up
Stamp.
the tone stamp here.
Yeah,
He's grinning his ass off. I'm gonna go
yeah.
Joe Burrow with my long ass winded explanation. Finally, going
So
Joe
my
Burrow.
I it was a random generator. I got the first pick, so I picked 1, 8. As it goes, snake draft style, and I picked Jalen Hurts 12-1. You know what?
I'm not mad at you, dude.
I was convinced.
Homer.
I was convinced, not as a homer. I actually wanted the third pick. I was a little upset I got the first pick, but if I'm getting the same odds on, well, basically the same odds on Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, or I can get the longer shot at 12-1. I did go with Jalen Hurts just because I wanted him my first pick, and he wasn't going to be there at 8. So Josh would have taken him at 4. He said so. It's one of those ones where I think you get a little bit more value at 12-1. And I think it was this could be a really fun activity between us 4. But I just want to quickly run through, and then we can head out. My uh, my MVP 6. So you get 6 picks.
Yep.
By the way, 24 picks. Once you in like round 3, the pickings get like really slim. But
I bet they do.
I'm gonna biasly say that someone in the chat, C squared, is on my side as well. I like my odds here. I think Will Hill thinks his is the best. His team sucks ass. But my team, I have Jalen Hurts at 12-1, Justin Herbert at 9-1, which I
Nice.
think is a great pick at 8. I
Absolutely.
did go Jared Goff 25-1.
There you go. Somebody in the chat just said
That's
that
what
he
I'm
could win.
saying. Jared Goff.
It's not impossible. That
They
offense is
have
so loaded.
they have a chance to win the division finally, right? That they're for the first time ever, they're favored to win the division. Their offense has always been great. I did get Tua 16-1, but that's also 4th round 16-1. He's got the narrative. He's got the offense. And I went Derek Carr and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase being my 150-1 long shot last round pick, but
Yeah, dude,
I
not
think
bad. I especially like Herbert at 8. I think that's a steal.
so.
I would consider
I
him around
think
3 or 4.
I think it's funny that a lot of people in this draft between Brad, Josh, and Will, they all went long shots. And my strategy for MVP was to stack up on quarterbacks with lower odds because I get other awards you could take long shots, but MVP is a quarterback award, and it's
Yep.
always going to be one of like those top guys, not top guys, but I think getting Tua, Herbert, and Hurts, and then Goff is a long shot. I think that was the way to do it because like Will Hill. I mean, he went Mahomes, Lamar, he went Kirk Cousins, Watson, and Mike White. He went like way far out of the realm of trying to prey on people's
But
downfall.
can you go? Can you hit me with that one more time? List his
He he
team for me.
got he got Mahomes, Lamar, Cousins, Watson. Then he drafted Mariota and Mike White. So he went backups that can come in if someone gets hurt. And I think that's the wrong way. I feel like you gotta go like it's MVP. Like in this day and age, there's who was it? Kurt Warner got it once for a backup that came in for it, but that's such a I think it was a bad way to do it. I think getting five quarterbacks and just stack up your odds. I mean, all I really need is Hurts or
Mike White.
Herbert to go off and pray that it's hurt for a fan. But yeah, it's actually a really cool idea. But I think my
Dude, I
team.
love this. I might have to
Yeah,
do this with a couple people myself.
yeah, I think it's a fun like side thing, and we're gonna have graphics for it tomorrow. But yeah, Brad took Trevor Lawrence at 3, so he went really long, and then he's got Gino, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford, and Bijan Robinson was his. So there's different ways to do it, but I do think. So C Square says if Mike White wins MVP, I'll never gamble or watch football again.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's true.
Honestly,
Like I said,
I don't hate Lawrence at 3.
so I'll say this. I think Will Hill is going if everything hits the fan and one of those guys wins, it doesn't matter what the other awards are because at a billion to one, he's gonna win the whole contest. But I think MVP is the one to go safer with. I'll take more long shots for other awards. So
Yeah.
and there's to kind of cap it off, Josh J Boogie. His team is Burrow, Dak, Justin Jefferson, Aaron Rodgers, Christian McCaffrey, and then Bosa. He's got
Not bad.
Rodgers before Dak. He didn't pick Dak before.
yeah.
Rodgers.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was one of those things where it was a fun time. We're gonna do offensive tomorrow, so if you guys want to ever tune in at 1 p.m., it should be fun. We probably could have done better coordination. I know it works well for the team, but we should have at least for next year. We should get like 8 people, make like an 8-person league, and get like a whole draft for it. That'd be really cool. But it is a cool idea, so, and it's also a good way to get content to talk about the awards while also making it a little bit fun. But
Yeah.
I don't think anyone taps my team. I mean, I just stacked quarterbacks that I think have decent odds for it. But it was definitely interesting. Although golf 25 to 1 is just criminal. It should be like 40 to 1, but we use FanDuel's odds, and I think FanDuel realizes that it's always a quarterback, so they just tank all the odds for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, but that offense should be a lot of fun. They bring in Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, so that's a hell of a duo behind him. How long is Jameson Williams suspended? 6 games or something? I know. He's our guy. He's a big gambler. He's probably tuned in right now. So thanks for watching, Jameson. But how long is he out for? Do we know?
I'm not sure. I have
6, but appealing.
I think it's 6. Yeah, I was gonna say C Squared's also hyperactive in the chat. I'll say this: Jared Goff, how many more touchdowns is he going to get now that Jamal Williams is out of the picture? They don't need to stuff him at the 1-yard line every 6 plays anymore to help him rack up those touchdowns. Maybe some of them will be sneaks or fades, or maybe they'll stop paying receivers to kneel at the 1 to make sure Williams gets his touchdown record there, whatever it was. But I do think there's a lot more touchdowns going Goff's way as well with that.
Yeah, and he had 29, and that's that was I think DeAndre Swift is a really good receiving back. So I don't know, but I think I really like his receiving backs. I love his receiving core. Tight end is still a huge question mark. I don't even who they have. Brock Wright and Sam Laporta are their tight ends. So a big question mark there. But the rest of that offense is stacked. Offensive line did a pretty good job last year. Penei Sewell is a stud for sure. Marvin Jones is for a wide receiver 3 to be Marvin Jones when Williams is on the field, that's pretty incredible. And then super excited to see what Jamar Gibbs, Jamar, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce names.
Yeah, exactly. We all know
it'll
that.
be fun to add into that offense as well. So I like it. I like it. I think that
Yeah,
golf
so
pick is kind of sharp, actually.
yeah, people got mad at me for it. I mean, I got made fun of by Will Hill, but I think it's a great pick. I will say this: if you're listening still at this point, 35 to 1 on DraftKings. At those odds, 35 or 40 to 1, I actually think that golf is worth a sprinkle. I just wouldn't do 25 to 1 unless it's for the the fun competition we're doing where you use certain odds.
Yes,
But if you can get 40 to 1, I think it's fun sprinkle. I mean, $10 wins 400. I mean, come on, that's kind of fun. And for that offense, it's really fun. And to close off, I do think Jalen Hurts is a good pick at 12 to 1, especially because the tush push is still not banned,
it's a
so they can
fact.
still do that. So I
He's
think
gonna
it's
get
a
11 rushing touchdowns probably.
yeah, 11 rushing touchdowns. Plus, you got Swift added. We kind of talked about it before, but Miles Sanders was just like the worst receiving back of all time. So adding that to the offense will really help his numbers too. So
It's funny. Sorry, go ahead.
no, we're gonna say no. We're gonna say
I remember after Miles Sanders' rookie year, I thought we had this beast receiver out of the backfield because he had 60 catches for 600 yards in his rookie season, and then just his hands died or something. I don't
yeah,
know. They had necrosis or something. They became the most useless two hands in the world. Somehow, some way out of the backfield. But you had in DeAndre Swift as a receiver. Rashad Penny doesn't really have much receiving upside, but he won't really need to. He'll just be our between the tackles guy. Let Swift get out in space, get him the ball through some passes. Man, this offense is just so beautiful. I cannot wait to see it. Olamide Zacchaeus is a pretty solid pickup. I thought it'll push Quez Watkins to either improve or we'll have a little bit of an upgrade at the slot receiver position, or I guess just our third receiver because they switch around a little bit. But loaded offense. Not really. I mean, still probably the best offensive line in the league. They do have to sub in. I think Cam Jurgens at the right guard because we lost
yeah,
Isaacs. But that offensive line is still so stacked. Jason Kelsey's back, which is really the key to everything. And Lane Johnson, good and healthy. So 12 to 1. I'm not mad at you, dude. I am not
yeah.
mad at you.
So I think it was a good way to kind of plug the show. We do it one, and you can always rewatch it on the GoldBoys Network on YouTube. But before we get out of here, do you want to just kind of, for anyone that's just joining in, just kind of run through your 6 picks for the Derby, the loaded
Yes.
slate you have for that?
Definitely. So 30% profit boost on FanDuel. I used it on Adolis Garcia to win. Outright. It was plus 910 with the boost. 50% boost on DraftKings. I took Lewis Robert Jr. to win the home run derby at plus 750 with the boost. First round matchup, I took Julio Rodriguez over Pete Alonso at plus 140. In that same matchup, I took Pete Alonso and Julio Rodriguez to combine for over 42.5 homers. And this will probably only relevant to a few of you, but a couple Bet 365 specials. I took over 27.5 homers for the most home runs by a player in the first round, and then total home runs in the tournament by the winning player. I took over 58.5 home runs. So those are my 6 props for the Derby tonight.
Wow, that was a really good rundown. So we appreciate everyone that was here. And I always appreciate Ryan. I think that was a good show. We ended a little bit earlier, but we obviously on a day with only one sporting event. I'm lucky. We're lucky we even
Hey,
made
we hung in for 50
enough
minutes. It's
content for
not
50
bad.
minutes. Yeah. So I appreciate Ryan for coming in here with the actual stats and the home run numbers and all that good stuff for what that people want to hear. Meanwhile, I just talked for like 25 minutes about why Jared Goff is probably winning MVP. So I don't really understand what my role here was today, but I'm glad to do it with you, Ryan. And
Hell yeah, man.
as always, we appreciate Pickett Sports and Sleeper Picks for sponsoring this show, which lets us talk about Jared Goff winning MVP. So, Ryan, any closing words before we head out?
Nah, dude, let's have some fun. Be safe. Smaller bankrolls. Be very careful tonight. There's no reason to blow your bankroll on a home run derby. But if you do have a couple extra bucks you're willing to spare, dude, there isn't many events where you're gonna have as much fun betting on like this one. So be responsible, but have some fun. Let's have a night.